Hi everybody, it's Ali. Welcome back to the Surrender with Grace interview series. It's lovely to have you back. Today we have Ruthie Cohen Joyner. Ruthie is based in North Carolina. She's an EFT expert, a matrix re-imprinting practitioner and a nutritionist. So welcome to the series, Ruthie. I think you're going to add an enormous amount of value today. I'm very excited. So welcome, and please tell us about your journey and why it is that you do the amazing work you do today.
Well, thank you very much for having me on your summit, Ali. I'm looking forward to being with you today and your audience. So, in 2009, I found EFT, or emotional freedom techniques, or a lot of people know it as tapping, where you literally tap on meridian endpoints. And it is a form of energy psychology. I found this in 2009, started playing around with it. To be honest, I thought it looked ridiculous when I first saw it, and I thought, no way this does anything. But I started playing with it and found, wow, this is interesting. It actually does work. And I'll explain a little bit about that in a minute. But I found a trainer near me in 2011, and I started bugging her, hey, I want to do this training. I want to do this training. Hey, I want to do this training. And finally, in January 2012, she did another training. So I took the training, became certified, and decided that my niche was going to be in emotional eating because of my own history with emotional eating and binging, etc. And my background is with someone else who specializes in EFT for emotional eating. And I realized very quickly that even though I thought we were going to talk about food and eating, that we actually got into childhood trauma. So the reality is a lot of women, especially, I work mainly with women and men too, but since I work with women, that's where I focus, have had histories of sexual abuse or physical abuse or emotional abuse, a lot of grief and loss, losing a parent early or a sibling early, early trauma when there's weight and eating issues. Now, of course, not for everyone who has eating and weight issues, but the women that I work with, that's why they come. So as I started doing this work, I needed to learn more about trauma. So I took the course Tapping Out of Trauma twice. So Tapping Out of Trauma is specifically for EFT practitioners to learn to work with trauma more. And I've taken emotional first aid and just continue to work on the trauma side because it's such an important part of our past. So events, or it doesn't always have to be early. It could be teen years, it could be 20s, whenever it is. I mean, trauma is any time in your life, but it's the early ones that set in your belief systems and your blocks, etc., that are so hard to focus on that.
Right.
So that was a long answer to your question.
No, it's a thank you. It's a great answer, and especially for our audience and obviously our subject matter, it's very poignant, very, very poignant. So, before we go on to talking a little bit about the tapping and EFT, and also the matrix re-imprinting, which sounds fascinating. I love this. It's all quite new. I've never really heard of it before. Tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing in terms of shame, the weight of shame. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you asked about that, Ali. So my newest program is on releasing the weight of shame, because my understanding is that, back to the trauma, the early childhood trauma especially, that we as little children, so 0 to 7 or so, you must bond with whoever your caregivers are to survive. So if your caregiver is emotionally unavailable or is abusive, neglect, to bond with them to survive. And so what happens is that we take on their shame. So when we're little. We don't have that ability to reason things out. We just think there's something wrong with me. So that's one of the biggest beliefs for people that carry shame, is there's something wrong with me. And it comes from their own stuff, but mainly from whoever has abused them. So if you have a perpetrator, an abuser who abuses you in whatever way, you think it's your fault. And so you're carrying that your whole life, and it's kind of your context, if you will, for everything, that there's something wrong with me. I have to hide. I don't want people to see who I really am. And that, it just colors everything about your life. It is huge. So I'm going to go ahead and answer a little bit about matrix reimprinting, because it fits in here. So matrix reimprinting was invented, founded, created, I guess created is the right word, by Carl Dawson in the UK. And he was doing an EFT session with a client. I think it was a demo and a training, actually. And she made the comment, talking about her younger self, that I feel like I can see her right here in front of me, something along that line. And matrix reimprinting was born by the idea that Carl said, well, imagine that you, the adult you, goes in to be with her. So like it's a play, like you're looking at whatever happened in your past, like it's a play. You literally walk in and be the loving support that your younger self needed. So in matrix reimprinting, you try to stay dissociated, meaning the adult you is trying to be there to support the younger you. And I say try because it's hard to stay separated. And then you use the tapping to support her, love her, heal her. And a lot of times what she needs is to be seen and heard and have a right to have her emotions. And so by giving her that, you can change the belief system that you've been carrying your whole life. And it is massively life-changing. And I'm going to add 2 things about that. So I'm also trained in matrix birth reimprinting, where we go back into the birth and make changes around your birth in a way that supports you in your life today. And a lot of times that goes into generational healing, or even past life healing. So you never know where you're going to go when you get into the matrix. So it is so fun, so gratifying, so healing. I just love it.
Wow, it seems really powerful. And I have to say, even I was feeling a bit shivery listening to you talking about that, because it's that's really powerful. I can imagine to experience that, and yeah, not to know exactly how you're going to react as well. And that's really that's fascinating, really fascinating. So tell us about the tapping and how that works as well with the matrix reimprinting, etc. It's really interesting.
So EFT, emotional freedom techniques, or tapping, most people just call it tapping these days, is a form of energy psychology where it is, so you literally are tapping on your body, and we'll do this in a few minutes. Everybody can't tell you how it works, but you're tapping on meridian endpoints. So these are the same points that are used in acupuncture and acupressure. So this is ancient Chinese medicine kind of modernized, I guess. And you're focusing on whatever the issue is while you're doing the tapping. Excuse me. And we usually get what's called a SUDS level, and that stands for subjective units of distress scale. Don't worry about that. It's just 0 to 10. So let's say it can be used for many things: phobias, healing traumas, like I said, dealing with everyday stress, test anxiety, pain, physical and emotional pain. So those are just a few quick examples. So let's just say that in your world today, you are afraid of public speaking. That's a pretty common one. A lot of people are afraid to speak in public. But let's say you have a memory from when you were in the 3rd grade and the class laughed at you when you got up to do some presentation you had to do. So from 3rd grade, you've learned it is not safe to talk in front of people. So you've been carrying this all these years. And now as an adult, you need to speak publicly and you are scared to death. So what we would do in EFT is we would tap on the feelings that you're having. I'm so scared to speak. So we would be saying these phrases as we go around the points. I'm so scared to speak. I'm afraid they're going to laugh at me. I don't want to do this. It's too hard, whatever you're feeling. And matrix re-imprinting, and we could do a little more with that with EFT, but in matrix re-imprinting, we would imagine going back into you, adult you, would go in and help the, however old you are, 3rd grade, 8, 9, walking into it like it's a play. So you literally go in and we kind of pause everybody or freeze everybody in the scene other than your younger self and you. And we ask her what she's feeling. And she might say, I am so embarrassed. Everybody laughed at me. So we would do tapping with her saying, even though you're feeling so embarrassed and so scared, I'm here with you. You're not alone. You're going to be okay. So we talk with her and help calm her down. And then once we've got her in a better place, we ask her how she wished it had happened. And she might say, well, I wish that I had not, I don't know, made the mistake, made the mistake that I made. Whatever she says. So we help her create a better memory, because your memories are never. We're helping her change. We're helping you change how you've got the memory stored. And then we have you imagine going into wherever you're supposed to speak. So you're supposed to do something at work next week. So we have you imagine coming and doing that from the context of having healed the past. And so having you step into feeling powerful, confident, and calm. And so actually do sort of a dress rehearsal of doing it. And I ask people to keep doing that, keep imagining it, keep visioning it. So this is partly from Joe Dispenza's work. So if anybody knows who Joe Dispenza is, he has a saying, it's time to be defined by your future instead of your memories from the past. So we're working on doing this in your mind several times so that by the time you step into it and do it, it just feels easy because you've already done it in your mind. So it kind of heals the past and creates. That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. I love that. I love that. And is it, how long does that take then? So tell us how someone would work with you. I guess you can work with people from a distance, so through Zoom or Skype or something like that. Tell us how you work, and in that kind of scenario, how long does it normally take for someone to heal?
Okay, good question. So yes, I work by Zoom or phone. Excuse me, and in person for people that are in my area in Charlotte, North Carolina, but the majority is by Zoom. And for that specific thing, so if somebody had a specific event they were working on, that's probably one session. And my sessions are 60 to 90 minutes. Phobias are another thing that are very quick. Usually can be done in one session. Wow. So the most famous person, excuse me one moment. The most famous person I know who's used EFT to heal a phobia is Whoopi Goldberg, used it to heal her fear of flying. And so fear of flying, fear of snakes, spiders, I don't know, heights, usually that can be done in one session. Now, what we were talking about for your purposes with trauma can take a little longer depending on what it is. But I do want to give you a statistic about PTSD, and then I'm not a statistical expert, but my understanding is the P value, the letter P, if the P value of statistical analysis is 0.05, so 0.05, it is statistically significant, and whatever you're doing works, okay, if it's 0.05. The numbers from the research that's been done on EFT show that for depression and anxiety, that it's around 1.2 or 1.3. So remember what I said, 0.05 is statistically significant. So we're saying 1.2 or so for anxiety and depression. For PTSD, the number is 2.96. So that means that we can't use the word heal or cure, but that people are finding immense relief from using EFT for their PTSD symptoms. So nightmares, flashbacks, anxiety, those type of things pretty much go away, and usually 3 to 4 sessions for that.
Wow.
Of energy psychology. There's many different energy psychology modalities, but EFT is one of the most researched. And Peta Stapleton in Australia is the world's leading researcher, and she's at Bond University in Queensland, Australia. So
it's fascinating, very, very interesting. So for somebody, for example, some of the people who are watching, you know, in our audience now, if they were to come to you, for example, like I would, to go through, to talk to my younger self in that kind of a traumatic situation, you would estimate that you would work with on around 4 sessions, which is around 4 hours. How do you then follow? I imagine everybody's different anyway in terms of how long it would take, but what would be your normal course then in terms of working with anyone after that? Is there a way that you advise them to keep you know, doing the tapping? Is it really a tool that we learn and we can take away, and it's really that incredible and that transforming? I mean, it sounds like a magic cure, really.
I like to say almost magic. It doesn't work in every situation, so I want to be blunt about that. That some people just don't take to it. It's not the answer for everyone, but it is amazing. It can be magical. It totally changed my life, and I'm sure many other people. So I will tell you, when I work with emotional eating, I generally suggest that people do a 12-session package because it's so complex. And addictions in general can be very complex, that it's not as simple as, okay, one trauma, we're done. I'll say it really does depend on things. So when I do an initial interview with people, then I get a sense of what I think it will take. And you brought up something very important, Allie. It is a self-help tool, meaning you can or you will learn to use it for. If you're driving and somebody pulls out in front of you and it really freaks you out, you can literally start tapping right there to just calm yourself and let it go really quickly. So it's a wonderful self-help tool, but the analogy that I give people, it's kind of like going to the dentist, meaning you need to brush your teeth every day, right? I mean, you have your general dental care that you do at home. If you had a root canal, if you needed a root canal, you can't do that for yourself. That's where you would go to an EFT practitioner. So to do the big heal, to get the help, and once that's healed, then you have the tool to keep using at home, like brushing your teeth, to keep you in a good place. And I have several clients that do monthly sessions after we've worked through whatever, that they just kind of have a tune up, if you will, once a month, just kind of keep working on things and keep working on new tools. I mean, as I learn and change, it helps them learn and change. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it absolutely answered the question. Yeah. And also, you know, when there are many layers, and depending on what someone's doing in their life, and for example, someone who wants to start public speaking, you know, there will come new levels, I imagine, of you know, confidence, and they may want to do more. So it's going to open up. It's kind of makes us more of a whole person there onwards, I guess. It's fascinating. I just, yeah, it's really, really interesting. Just a little acknowledgement to the viewers. We're having a little bit of a time delay, so I'm sincerely sorry about that. I hope it's not affecting the viewing too much, because I'd really love you, Ruthie, to tell us a little bit about how the tapping works then, and those meridians, etc. Tell us a little bit about that. You were going to give us a little demonstration or something that we can take home and practice now.
Yeah, yes. So I want to say that YouTube is your friend. There are tons and tons of YouTube videos on tapping. And I will tell you, it's a great way to learn the basics. But back to my analogy of if you had a root canal, don't expect YouTube to heal your stuff for you. It's a great way to learn. It's a great way to have some support, but it's not the end all be all. You really do need to work with someone if you're healing trauma. So let's do a little audience is to come up with something that you're stressed about today, something that's bothering you, something you're worried about, and just see if you can think of something. And when you come up with something, I want you to tell me how much it's bothering you from a 0 to 10. 10 being I am totally freaked out, this is, horrific, to 0, not a problem. So you don't have to tell me exactly what it is, or you can, but what I'm looking for are the emotions, like I'm feeling anxious or sad or worried or whatever the emotions are, and then how strong it is on a 0 to 10 scale.
Okay, all right. Do you want me to do that with you now?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay, I have quite a lot of neck pain right now. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say it's probably about 7, actually.
Okay.
And
okay.
And it's tense, and it's just annoying. It's just not going away. It's really annoying.
Okay, I heard you say annoying, but you said one word before that I missed. Do you remember what that was?
It's intense, and it's just not going away. It's just annoying. It's irritating. Like
intense.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question, and anybody else listening, think about this for yourself. So if you've chosen a physical pain to work on, we generally believe that physical pain comes from emotional pain, and the body can be very literal. So do you have someone or some situation in your life that feels like a pain in the neck? You don't have to share who or what, but when I say that, do you think of
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So think about that situation, because the neck pain very likely could be related to that. It may not be, but it could very well be. So I'll give you an example. There was a woman who was having bladder infections, and in talking about it, she realized she was really pissed off at somebody. So the pissed off and the bladder, go together. I worked with a lost weight that she would what's the word? Well, have an affair, that she would step out of her marriage. She was afraid of stepping out, if you've heard that term before, and she was having a lot of feet pain. So when we tapped on that, the feet pain went away. So we're going to play with your neck pain, and so everybody else, whatever is going on for you, come up with your number and the emotions that go with it. So because of our time delay, Allie, I'm not going to have you repeat after me. Normally I would, but because of the time delay, it's going to make it too hard. So for everyone, I'm going to say a phrase, and then I'm going to ask you to repeat after me. So Allie, I guess do it silently so it's not too confusing, but I'll leave space for you to do this.
I'm going to do this straight afterwards, actually.
Say that again?
I'm going to do this straight afterwards.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to take my glasses off because it's easier to do tapping around the eye. So instead of explaining it all, we're just going to do it. So we're going to do what's called a setup phrase on the side of the hand. And so everybody just start literally tapping here on the side of the hand. So just start tapping with me. There you go. And repeating after me. Even though I have this problem, and it is so annoying,
So,
I'm choosing to love and accept myself anyway. So even though I have this issue, the stress and worry about this issue, I'm choosing to love and accept myself anyway. So even though I'm having this problem, and it is so annoying, I'm that I can release and let it go. All right, so I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath. And now we're going to tap on the eyebrow point between the eyes. The side of the eye. It is so annoying. Under the eye. It's really bothering me right now. Under the nose. It is so intense.
so intense.
Chin, and it's not going away. Collarbone. So you find your collarbone and go down a little bit and out a little bit. This intense problem. It's really bothering me today.
It's really bothering.
I'm going to ask you to stop tapping for a moment and take a deep breath. And I'm going to ask you to re-rate your number. So, Allie, yours was 7. Is it still a 7, or has it gone up or down or changed in any way? So we just did a teeny bit of tapping, so it may not have changed.
I'd say it's maybe gone down to a 6 or even a 5, but a 6, I think.
Okay.
Do you
With you individually, we would get way more into details.
Right, sure. And do you advise as well, do you advise closing one's eyes and really focusing on that problem, and maybe just keep repeating it as well until
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So for demo purpose, and you haven't had a chance to learn them, so yes, you're probably keeping your eyes open to be able to follow. But absolutely, Allie, when you're doing this for real, then you do close your eyes. It's considered an altered state of consciousness, just like doing hypnotherapy or meditation or anything else that you really want to go deep. So yes, most people do close their eyes, and you do want to focus on the problem while you're doing it. And if we were doing this for real, specifically on pain, I would probably be asking you questions like, if you could give it a color, what color would it be? And if you could give it a weight, how much does it weigh? So we would get more into it from a metaphorical description. But we're not really going to go into all that right now, obviously, for a short demo. I just want people to have a sense of it. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to switch to some positive tapping, Whereas if we were really working together, we would go much deeper. So going back to the side of the hand. Taking another deep breath. So even though I still have this problem, and it is so annoying and intense, I'm open to the possibility that I can release and let it go today. All right, take a deep breath, please. Going back to the eyebrow point. I still have this problem. Side of the eye. It's not as bad as it was, but it's still here. Under the eye. But I really do wonder if I can let it go. Under the nose. I wonder if there is something to be learned from this problem. Chin. I wonder if I can learn from it and let it go. Collarbone. I'm choosing to release and let it go today. Top of the head. Releasing and letting go as much as I can today. Back to the eyebrow. Learning what I need to learn and letting it go. Side of the eye. I'm choosing to feel calm and confident. Under the eye. I'm choosing to let some joy in. Under the nose. I am so grateful for what I've been able to let go of today. Chin. I'm so grateful that I'm feeling a little better. Collarbone. Releasing and letting go of what no longer serves me. Top of the head. And choosing to feel joyful and grateful today. And put your hands over your heart and take a deep, nourishing breath. And bring in feelings of ease and joy and comfort. And take one more deep, nourishing breath. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come. So I know this was such a teeny little piece, and so you may not have gotten much from it, but Allie, I'm going to ask you, what number would you give your neck pain now?
3. I would say 3.
Cool.
Maybe even a 2.
Just notice we spent, I don't know, less than, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So we spent less than 10 minutes. We didn't focus any specifics. We didn't get into analyzing it or whatever. And we got it from a 7 to a 2 to 3. So once again, I do want to say the beauty of EFT really is in getting very specific, getting into the root causes of things, and we can do some amazing things that way. But I wanted you to just get a little feel for it today so you at least know what it's a little bit about.
It's fascinating. I love that. And so at the beginning, you used the two words that you asked as well when at the beginning in terms of what was annoying, and I think it was when we got to here you mentioned that. So that's important, I guess, to bring up those feelings in that part in the process. And then the more we do it, the more we know what to say about, etc. And we did that. So we did that in two sections. Is that what you recommend? Yeah.
Well, first I want to say there is this terrific, you need to be specific. So to really get the best um, result, the more specific you are, the better. So yes, I used your words, annoying and intense. I try to use my clients' words, not make up my own, because it works better that way. Um, and usually how fast we go, whether it's in 2 segments or 10 segments, really depends on how fast it's working for you. So it's not as simple as there's one specific way. So, but I really do recommend, I have a YouTube channel.
Okay.
Gates is a big name on YouTube. He has tons of things you can tap with, and there's many other people. So there's lots of free stuff to play with it to see if it's a good fit for you, if you like it. So.
I love it. I love it. I think it's really great. I love it. And we only touched on something there. I mean, I can imagine it's incredible. It sounds really amazing to get rid of the fear of flying spiders in one session. I mean, that's amazing, amazing. Um, so tell us, Ruthie, we're going to make sure that everybody has all the contact details for you and that they can reach out to you and everything. Um, First of all, tell us about the gift that you're offering today as well, because we'll make sure everyone gets that.
Okay, so the free gift that I'm offering is, and I may not, called 7 Keys to a Loving Relationship with Food, Your Weight, and Your Body. Because as I mentioned, I started out working with emotional eating. So it does have things specific to people who have food and weight issues, but the general ideas in it can be used by anyone. And it takes about 10 minutes to read it, and it's filled with some positive quotes and suggestions of ways of taking care of yourself. And also, I'll mention that I do free 30-minute calls with people by Zoom or phone or whatever, just to look at how you could use this for yourself. That one is on cravings. So we work specifically on something you're craving, like it could be chocolate chip cookies or red wine or something that you want to feel more in control around. So the idea is not to make you hate the food or never want it again, but if you have something that you have a hard time feeling in control around, it's just to help you gain back that control. And what I love about that free 30-minute call is the purpose is to help you find out what it is you are really craving, because it's not the food, it's something else that you're really looking for. So there's the cravings call, and then there's one that's called Discover Your Dream Life. And that's where we just kind of look at what's holding you back from living the life of your dreams. So those are, even if you choose never to do anything else with me, the free calls can be very valuable just in themselves.
Wow, thank you so much. That's so generous, and really, that's even the interview itself is so generous. Thank you. Really, that's a lot of amazing information. So that brings me to the final question, and then I shall let you go. What would be, Ruthie, your final kind of words of advice based on your experience and how it's changed your life? What would your final words of advice be to people who are maybe just a bit nervous about giving it a go? You know, what?
Well, that's a very good question. So number one, I would just say whatever you're working on, don't give up. There are answers, and you may chip away a teeny bit at a time, or tap away, haha. You may tap away at whatever a little bit at a time, but you can make changes. And whatever you're working on healing, because everybody has something, right? I mean, we all have stuff. You wouldn't be drawn to this summit. You wouldn't be listening if you didn't have something to heal. That there are answers. Things really can be better. And tapping is the modality that I have found to be the most helpful. Tapping along with meditation. I've got very much into meditation these days, but the combination of the two is just beautiful. So I just say, don't give up. Have faith in yourself. You are worth it, and you can change your life and live a much more fulfilling life. And Allie, I just want to thank you very much for having me on today. I hope people will find some inspiration and hope from
Yeah.
our
I'm sure there's a lot of inspiration from this interview. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. On behalf of everybody, thank you so much for taking the time and for all your really generous offers and gifts and teaching today. I very much appreciate it. Thank you, Ruthie. All right, have a great day, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Allie, for allowing me to serve today.
Oh, thank you, everybody, and I shall look forward to seeing you tomorrow.